Hey all, and welcome to Vlogtober with Unseen Strands, where I, your host Mo, am visually impaired, and at least for this month, we're not only going to share with you fiber arts related topics, but also topics related to what I like to call my blind life, as October is Blindness Awareness Month. My aim this month is to keep these as little short tidbits, so between 5 to 10 minutes each day that I can get something recorded for you. And as you can hear maybe in the background today, we do have dishwasher sounds, and I do apologize, but I have been trying to get this recorded for a while and it just hasn't worked out. We are also back to just a photo in our background instead of me being on camera because I have rearranged my living room, and that has kind of disrupted my recording area. And so for the current time, I don't have a good place to put my little vloggy camera, and so we're going to just do this audio and maybe with some pictures thrown in here. But today, instead of looking at my lovely face, you can look at one of Zane's lovely pumpkins as our fall theme background photo. And I would like to start off by saying that this is my experiences and my opinions, and by no means is this the voice for the entire blindness community. So just remember that everyone's stories, just like every sighted person's story is different, so is every blind person's story different. So I'd just like you to respect my opinions and my view of things, as well as respect other opinions and stories that may be out there. So what is my eye disorder, you may ask? I have Leber's congenital amaurosis, or at least I think that's how you say it. It is spelled Lebers for the Lebers, and it is a retinal disorder that attacks the tissue, or the retina is the tissue at the back of the eye. This is all stuff that I read off Google that I'm trying to remember for you now, and it basically relates to how light and color is perceived by the eye, and therefore I have lots of light sensitivities. I have color blindness issues, but not your red-green color blindness. And let's see, what else did it say? I have the nystagma, which is the shaking of the eye, or inability, I think, to focus, is kind of what it's called, as well as extreme farsightedness. Often, this eye disorder is discovered within the first few months of a baby's life, but in my case, they did not discover that I was visually impaired until I was 3, because they just thought I was extremely stubborn, which isn't untrue, but it is not the reason that I refused to read the eye charts. I just physically could not read the eye charts. And I believe from what I could gather, there is at least 13 or 14 different kinds of LCA. So I'm not exactly sure which individual strand that I have, or was there 13 different genes that it could be related to, as it is a genetic disorder. But yeah, so I'm not exactly sure on more in-depth looks at it, but I know for myself, and it says on the information page that I looked at, that this is an eye disorder that is a very consistent eye problem, and that it doesn't usually have drastic changes in vision, although it does decrease over time. Yeah. My personal experience is that I steadily gained vision until I was about mid-teens or so, and then when I hit that lovely time of life, I lost vision very rapidly and very quickly, which will lead off into another topic for another day. But it's interesting to see what science says about something and then what your personal experience is, because I know when I was growing up, they always told me that at some point I would be like completely blind, and I don't know exactly where I fit in to the low vision circle anymore, because I tried recording this before and I said I'm totally blind, because at least from when I last got tested, they pretty much declared me as totally blind, because all my vision is peripheral and all their tests didn't really test my peripheral vision. I guess maybe my cone of vision is outside of the testing zone, so it just didn't really work for me. But this was in a normal standard eye doctor placement instead of in like a eye doctor specialty clinic, which is what I grew up going to. So basically, as a quick recap, I have what I call no central vision. That's all just basically a blur. I have some peripheral vision, which does allow me to have like perception and like outlines and things of things, but I do not have facial recognition. My color is iffy at best. I can tell like ranges of colors, like tones, but not necessarily the color that it is. And the best way I can describe that is like I was never good with green or blue because blue is in green. So if they were the same tone of, or the same shading, tone, whatever, on the same scale of color, I could not tell them apart. But if you made the green lighter, like as I was a child, how I distinguish the green crayon from the blue crayon is the green crayon has a much lighter wrapper on it, where the blue crayon had a much darker wrapper on it. So that's just a kind of a fun little thing that I did growing up to distinguish colors. And back then, that was more of what I had trouble with. Today, it's a much wider range of colors as I've decreased that vision and lost that central vision, which also means I can't really read all that well, but I can read a little bit if it's in the right conditions, and I can kind of navigate things on my computer and stuff a little bit visually as I look through the peripheral, but it's still not at all, even for as I operated 15 so years ago. It is quite a different world from even what I used as always a legally blind person, but even more closer to the totally blind side than the almost not legally blind side. One more thing I should probably enter in here is, although my disorder is a genetic disorder, it is a recessive genetic disorder. So I am the only person in my family tree that they know of that has ever actually suffered from this condition. And knock on wood, that my children, although they will be carriers of this disorder, should not have any actual children that suffer from this condition, unless they were to find a partner that also was a carrier for this condition. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead, wrap that up for today because I'm going over. And yeah, just feel free to ask me questions. I'd love to share more aspects of my vision and my personal story. And yeah, so any questions, please leave them below. Please feel free to hook the like button and subscribe, and we will talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow. Talk to you later, guys.